All right, so you guys wanted to deep dive into soulmates, huh?
Looks like it.
Well, you sent in this article. It's called Signs You've Met Your Soulmate in This Lifetime.
Hmm.
And it's from, let me see, myastrology.com.
Okay.
And it just came out December 4th, 2024, so pretty recent.
Yeah.
So are you ready to dig into this thing?
Absolutely. I always love talking about soulmates.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's interesting is that this article goes beyond just the romantic fluff, right? Like you'd expect from a title like this.
Right.
But it ties the idea of soulmates to real relationship dynamics, even psychology research.
Yeah, definitely. It's not just all about that, like, love at first sight, mystical kind of stuff.
Exactly.
It actually connects these soulmate ideas to, like how relationships work in the real world, which I think is pretty cool.
I agree. It makes it a lot more down to earth.
Uh-huh.
So, okay, the first sign they mention is instant recognition.
Okay.
And it got me thinking, have you ever felt that like instant spark with someone?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, it's beyond just finding them attractive. It's more like you've known them forever.
Yeah, it's like this deep sense of familiarity, right?
Right, exactly.
Like you just get them.
Yeah,
And it's a really powerful feeling.
it is.
And it totally makes sense why people connect that to soulmates.
Oh, yeah.
But if we want to look at this from a psychological perspective,
Okay.
it might actually be related to something called implicit memory.
Tell me more.
So it's basically these unconscious associations that we make based on past experiences.
Okay.
So maybe you're picking up on familiar mannerisms in this person,
Interesting.
or values, or even like personality types that just kind of resonate with you.
Oh, so it's like your subconscious is recognizing something familiar.
Exact
So it's
same.
not always like mystical destiny, but our brains making these lightning fast connections.
Right. And it happens so fast we don't even realize it.
That's kind of mind-blowing, honestly.
It is. The brain is an amazing thing.
Okay, on to the next sign. Effortless communication.
Okay, communication, big one.
Yeah, they talk about those conversations where you just get each other.
Right.
There's no need to over-explain. It just flows naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're speaking the same language, even if you're not.
Yeah, and that really highlights the importance of deep listening
Okay.
and emotional intelligence, which are, super important in any relationship, really.
Right, of course.
But especially if you're aiming for that soulmate level of connection.
I see what you mean.
In fact, there's this really interesting study
Oh,
by Dr. Gottman.
okay.
And he could actually predict, like, with 90% accuracy, which couples would stay together just by observing how they communicated.
Wow, 90%. That's incredible.
It is, right.
It really makes you realize how crucial communication is.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, this next one, a sense of peace.
Ooh, I like that one.
This one really caught my attention. So they describe it as feeling totally at ease, like even in silence.
Like a comfortable silence.
Right, like that person is your safe space,
Yeah, exactly.
So do you think that's essential for a truly strong bond?
Absolutely. It really ties into this concept of, what's it called? Secure attachment.
Okay.
And it actually goes back to early childhood.
No, interesting.
So think about it. Like, if you had a caregiver who was consistently there for you,
Right.
meeting your needs,
Mm-hmm.
then you would develop this sense of security and trust.
Okay.
And that actually carries over into adult relationships,
Wow.
where you're able to be vulnerable and authentic
Wow.
without that fear of being judged.
So it's like having a foundation of trust.
Yeah, you're creating that safe haven for each other.
I love that. Okay, the next one, shared growth. This one really resonates with me.
Mm-hmm.
It's that idea of your soulmate pushing you to be your best self.
Right.
So you're not just comfortable, you're evolving together.
Yeah, you're challenging each other.
Right, exactly.
And that's important because growth isn't always, comfortable.
True.
It often involves challenges, right?
Yeah.
Confronting your weaknesses, stepping outside your comfort zone.
Right.
And a true, quote unquote soulmate connection should allow for that.
Mhm.
It should provide support, encouragement, even when things get tough.
Yeah, it's like that saying, iron sharpens iron.
Exactly.
Okay, getting a little more mystical now, deep empathy.
Oh.
The article describes it as like feeling your soulmate's emotions as if they were your own.
Wow.
Is that even possible, do you think?
Well, it might sound, a little far out there,
Sure.
but there's actually a really fascinating phenomenon
It is.
called mirror neurons.
Okay.
And that could help explain this. So
Okay.
so these neurons, they fire both when we perform an action and when we observe someone else doing that same action.
Interesting.
So it's like our brains are literally wired for empathy.
So we're meant to feel what others are feeling.
To a certain extent, yeah. And in a close relationship
Right.
where you're deeply attuned to each other,
Yeah.
that empathy can become incredibly strong.
So maybe that whole feeling each other's emotions thing isn't just romantic fluff. Maybe it's like rooted in neuroscience.
Exactly. The brain is a powerful thing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
All right, now for the one that really piqued my curiosity.
Oh, which one?
Magnetic pull.
Oh, yeah.
So the article says that no matter what happens, you're just drawn to this person, like some invisible force is at play.
Like you're being pulled together.
Yeah.
Definitely a mysterious element to that.
There is.
That's definitely part of that whole soulmate allure.
It is.
But if we want to, bring it back down to earth a little bit,
Okay.
it might just come down to shared values, goals, a sense of purpose.
Oh.
When you're really aligned on those fundamental levels, it creates a powerful bond
Right.
that can feel, almost magnetic.
Right. Like you're both pulling each other towards that shared future.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. And speaking of alignment, the next sign is alignment in values.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Pretty straightforward. Your core values and life goals just need to be on the same page. Really.
Yeah, like do you both want kids? Do
Yeah.
you both prioritize travel? Whatever's important to you.
You got to be on the same page about those big things.
Exactly. While some differences can be good, they can add a little spice to a
Yeah.
relationship, but those core values,
Yeah.
those really need to be in sync.
For long-term success.
Exactly, for a partnership to really thrive long term.
Absolutely. Think about things like beliefs about family,
Huh?
work-life balance,
Yeah.
finances, spirituality.
It's the big stuff.
Those are biggies.
Yeah, you got to be aligned on that stuff.
Okay, so we've explored all these beautiful signs of a soulmate connection, right? But then the article throws in a little reality check,
Oh.
saying that even soulmate relationships have their challenges.
Oh, of course.
And it made me wonder if maybe we set ourselves up for disappointment with these like fairy tale expectations.
Oh, yeah, I think that's a really, really important point.
Yeah.
Like, we can get so caught up in this idea of finding the one.
The perfect person, yeah.
Yeah, and we forget that even the strongest connections,
Right.
they require effort, they require understanding.
Yeah.
Challenges are inevitable in any relationship, right?
Very.
That's just part of life.
Yeah.
But what sets a soulmate connection apart, I think, is
Right.
the willingness to face those challenges together.
So it's not about finding this magical problem-free relationship.
Right.
It's about having a partner who's committed to working through the tough stuff with you.
Exactly. That's what really matters.
Which leads me to a question, okay? So the article focuses on recognizing a soulmate. But what about building and maintaining that connection once you've found it? Isn't that like the real challenge?
Oh, for sure. That's where the real work comes in. You're absolutely right. Finding that spark is one thing,
Yeah,
but nurturing it into a lasting flame, I mean, that's where the real magic happens.
totally.
And that takes conscious effort, clear communication, a willingness to grow together.
It makes me think of a garden.
Oh, okay.
You can plant the most beautiful flowers, but if you don't tend to them,
Yeah.
they'll wither and die.
Right.
Relationships, I think, need that same kind of care. Sunlight, water, maybe a little weeding now and then.
I love that analogy.
Thanks.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's not about just passively waiting for that fairy tale ending.
Right?
You have to, actively create the conditions for love to flourish.
You do.
And a big part of that is taking responsibility for our own emotional well-being,
That's huge.
Like we can't expect our partner to be our sole source of happiness or fulfillment.
That's a lot of pressure to put on someone.
It is.
So it's not about finding someone to complete us,
Right.
but finding someone who inspires us to become the best versions of ourselves.
Exactly. And that means being willing to do the inner work,
Yeah.
address our own baggage, show up as our most authentic selves in the relationship.
Makes sense. So practically speaking, what are some things we can do to nurture that soulmate connection?
Well,
Or any significant relationship, really?
yeah, I mean, communication is key.
Communication always is.
It always is, right.
Right.
It's about, expressing your needs clearly,
Okay.
listening attentively to your partner's needs, and finding those healthy ways to navigate conflict.
Because conflict is going to happen.
Oh, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's just part of being in a relationship.
That's part of life.
Right. It's also important to, prioritize quality time together.
That's hard these days.
It is.
Everyone's so busy.
Yeah. In today's world, it's so easy to let that connection slip through the cracks.
Yeah, you get caught up in their day-to-day
Exactly.
work, errands, all that stuff.
So schedule date nights.
Ooh, date.
Have those meaningful conversations. Find ways to just reconnect amidst the chaos of life,
Those are fantastic tips.
Thanks.
It's like making those small deposits into the relationship bank account, right?
Yes, I love that.
Got to keep that balance positive.
Topped up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm also thinking about the importance of continued growth.
Oh, absolutely.
When you feel like you found the one.
You hit the nail on the head. Stagnation can be like a relationship killer,
For sure.
So encourage each other to pursue passions, learn new skills, expand your horizon.
Keep things interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even just taking a class together or trying a new hobby.
Oh, that's fun.
Can inject fresh energy into the connection.
Like they say, couples who learn together grow together. And let's be honest. Growth can be uncomfortable at times, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It can challenge us to confront our limitations, step outside our comfort zones.
It pushes us.
Yeah.
But navigating those challenges together,
right,
supporting each other through those growing pains, that can ultimately strengthen the bond and deepen the connection.
I think you're right. Okay, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier.
Oh, okay, what's that?
The role of choice. So, while the concept of soulmates implies this predetermined connection, right?
Okay.
Don't we ultimately have agency in our relationships?
You raise such a crucial point.
Yeah.
While we can be open to the possibility of these profound connections,
Sure.
we also have the power to choose who we connect with,
Right.
how we nurture those connections, and how we navigate those inevitable challenges.
It's both, right?
It's this beautiful dance between fate and free will.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's not about relinquishing control, but recognizing that we have a role to play in creating the love we desire.
Exactly. We can choose to be intentional about our relationships.
Be intentional.
Put in the effort, communicate effectively, and create a space where love can thrive.
I love that. So let's bring it back to the article and its astrological roots.
Okay.
They clearly believe that, astrological compatibility plays a role in soulmate connections.
Right.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think astrology can be a fun and insightful tool
Okay.
for self-discovery and understanding relationship dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
It can offer a framework for exploring potential strengths and challenges, but it's important to approach it with a critical and discerning mind.
So you wouldn't say, like, oh, our signs are incompatible, this relationship is doomed.
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay.
It's more about using astrology as a lens to understand different facets of the connection.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, it can provide insights into our tendencies, our partner's tendencies, potential areas of compatibility or conflict.
Right.
But it's crucial to remember that the success of a relationship ultimately depends on factors beyond astrological compatibility.
Like the communication, empathy, shared values.
Exactly.
All those essential ingredients we've been talking about.
Exactly. Astrology can add another layer to the conversation.
Okay.
But it shouldn't overshadow the importance of individual choice, effort, and a willingness to grow together.
Right. It's like adding a little extra spice to the recipe.
I like that.
Yeah, but the core ingredients are still what really matter.
Absolutely.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
We've explored these soulmate signs.
Yes.
But also the reality of building and maintaining a strong connection, regardless of whether you believe in destiny or not.
Right.
We talked about recognizing that initial spark, but also the work it takes to keep that flame going.
Yeah. Got to keep those embers burning.
Right. So I'm curious, what are your takeaways from all this? What are you walking away with?
For me, it's that love is a journey, not a destination. Whether or not you believe in the whole soulmate idea, the pursuit of a fulfilling relationship is a worthy endeavor, right?
It is.
And it requires vulnerability and courage and a commitment to growth.
To growing together, but also growing as individuals.
Absolutely. Both are so important.
I think that's beautifully said, and I think it's empowering, too.
Oh, how so?
We're not just passively waiting for our soulmate to appear, right?
Right.
Like we're actively creating the conditions for love and connection.
Yes. You're taking charge of your own love life.
Yes, we have the power.
You do.
All right, so, and remember, even if you do believe in soulmates, finding that special someone is just the beginning.
It is.
The real adventure is what comes next.
Yeah, what comes after the happily ever after, right?
Exactly.
It's the daily choices, the challenges you overcome, the growth you experience together, you know.
That's the good stuff.
That's what makes a relationship truly extraordinary.
I agree. So here's something to ponder as we wrap up, okay?
All right, I'm ready.
The article focused on recognizing your soulmate.
Mm-hmm.
But what about nurturing that bond once you've found it?
Ooh, good question.
What does that look like for you?
Yeah.
What are your non-negotiables in a relationship? What are you willing to work on?
Those are great questions to think about.
They are.
And remember, there's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Right, everyone's different.
What matters most is that you're consciously choosing to create a love that's authentic and fulfilling and aligned with your values, you know?
So well said.
Yeah.
And we'd love to hear your thoughts.
Oh, yeah. Tell us what you think.
Share your insights on social media or, even start a conversation with someone you care about.
Yeah, talk to your friends, your family, significant other.
Exactly, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, isn't that what it's all about?
What's that?
Connecting with others,
Oh, absolutely.
sharing our experiences,
Yeah.
and learning from each other.
Could not agree more.
Yeah. So keep exploring, keep connecting, and keep those conversations flowing.
Yes. Keep the conversation going.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of soulmates.
This was fun.
It was. Until next time, be kind to yourselves and to each other.